Heidi here from Rain Country Homestead. God is good all the time. And for dinner tonight, I'm going to make coconut halibut with a spicy pineapple dipping sauce. Now, the sauce I'm just going to make up on the fly, and I wanted to take you along for the ride. The coconut halibut is a recipe I made up before, so I will show you how I do that at least today. All right, so the first thing we're going to start with is the sauce, because I don't want to actually get into cooking the fish until much later. It's pretty early in the day right now. So what I have here is some pineapple that I froze. We got a really good deal about a year ago or so. Let's see, what's this date? Well, this is actually 2014, so it's going on 3 years. Okay, I got my pineapple in the blender. I'm just going to blend it up until smooth, and I'm probably only going to use about a half of it. Alright, so see how smooth that is? I got it all blended up. And I'm going to use, I don't want to make a whole bunch of this because I'm thinking we're not going to need much. And what I'll do with the rest of this is add a little sugar, some organic cane sugar, and some, or actually I think I'll put honey in this one, and some whipping cream, and I'll make a couple of popsicles out of it for Mr. Rain. Okay, so now that I've got the pineapple all whipped up smooth, or blended up smooth and in there, I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of tapioca starch. This is my go-to thickener, and I use it for a whole bunch of other things. I even add it into my tooth powder these days and use it in a homemade deodorant. All right, and here is the tapioca starch. You can see I have a 5-pound bag. Great deal to buy it this way. And you can find this particular one on Amazon, and that's where I got this. So I will link to this below. I highly recommend you get this because you want to get away from cornstarch. This has the same texture consistency of cornstarch. That same real smooth, silky feel. It does the same, all the same thing as cornstarch, but you don't have to worry about it being GMO. In fact, this one is actually labeled as non-GMO, and it is organic. So I suggest getting this on hand, and you'll find other videos as to why this is a really good thing to have on hand. Again, I use it. It also makes a good face powder, and I'll be doing a recipe on that in the future. All right, so now I'm going to whisk in my tapioca starch, and of course, being the Heidi Mighty Mo style, I'll be throwing stuff everywhere because we like messes, apparently. For the spice, I'm just going to put in some red pepper flakes, and I'm going to put a lot into this because I want it real spicy. More than I normally would for other things. And I might add, I'm thinking about adding some, maybe even throwing some cayenne pepper in here too. And then I have this beautiful raw honey that I got from Stacy over at Doug and Stacy Off Grid, which was part of our barter exchange for the skirts that I made her. I don't want this to be too sweet, and since I'm making them as I go, I'm going to start with just a 1/4 cup. I want it somewhat sweet. I just don't want it really sweet. And the pineapple's already going to have some sweetness to it. Well, I tell you what, I think I'll add about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt to this. Just a little bit. A tad bit more. Don't want very much salt in there. It's nice to have a little bit of salt. It helps bring out the flavor of everything. And as I always say, make sure your salt has color to it. Not white salt that's been colored, but salt that's actually still has the minerals in it will naturally have the color. Alright, so I'm going to go put this, it's already kind of thick because of the pineapple is already making it naturally thick, but the tapioca will thicken it up even more. And so I'm going to go put this on the wood stove and cook it for a little bit. And I'll be back when I'm ready to make the batter for the fish, and then I'll also show you the sauce. Alright, so I'm done with my sauce. Well, I'm not done. It's all nice and thick, but I tasted it, and it just still needs something more. I'm going to add a little bit more honey, and I decided about a tablespoon should be just right. So I'm going to put in a tablespoon of honey, a good heaping tablespoon, and definitely some ginger. I thought about adding it earlier, but I just wasn't sure. I wanted to taste it first. So, after tasting it, I decided yes on the ginger. So I'm going to put about a teaspoon for the amount I've got here. And I want it just a little bit more spicy than that. So a few more red pepper flakes there. And we'll mix that in there real good. And it's nice and thick. You see that? That'll make a really good dipping sauce for the fish. Okay, another taste tells me it still needs just a little bit more honey. Just a little. And this should be just right. And then a little bit more ginger. But this is for us. Now, if you're going to make something like this, you may not want it as spicy as I am making it for us. It just depends on how much flavor you like. Some people prefer more bland flavors or can't handle the red pepper, so you just leave that out. You know, a good dipping sauce is all about what flavors you like. You could add some rosemary to something like this. It might be good. All right, that's good. I got it just the way I want it, and the ginger was definitely a must on this. All right, so now I'm going to move on to the batter. What I have is a cup of rice flour, white rice flour. You can use regular white flour. If you do, make sure it's non-GMO and that it is unbleached. Organic is what I was looking at. And then I'm going to use a cup of my tapioca starch. As you can see, I refilled my jar here. Okay, and then I've got a tablespoon of baking powder. So 1 tablespoon baking powder, a cup of tapioca starch, and a cup of rice or white flour. All right, and now I'm going to take my eggs here, my 3 eggs, and beat them up a little bit here. You know, I really don't like using a whisk for that. I prefer my fork. It's easier for me to break the yolks up. Okay, I'm going to add that in to the center. And then I've got some just filtered rainwater. I'm going to add a little bit at a time. I know I need at least a 1/4 cup to start with. And there I go again, throwing stuff everywhere. Now this particular batter, I use it for a lot of things, just as is. I use it for chicken when I'm making almond fried chicken. Obviously I'm using it in fish this time. Sometimes I just use a cornmeal batter for fish, but for this particular thing I like this batter. It's based off an Asian recipe. And it makes a real light, crispy, when it's fried, light, crispy layer. But anyway, just keep adding your water until you get it the consistency as you want. And now you'll notice, you look here, you'll see that the tapioca starch is just like cornstarch in how it, and how it mixes. Now, I'm obviously going to need a little more water in that, or I'm not going to be able to coat my fish. So you just kind of keep working with it. Obviously, it's a little harder to keep mixing it in once it starts soaking it up. But you just gotta play with it a little bit, because you start with a 1/4 cup of water and then you just add more from there. All right, so that right there is about the consistency you're going to want your batter. A little disclaimer, I'm cheating right now because I'm using my conventional stovetop because I can get a better picture in here than I can in there. It's getting too dark in there to show you me frying in there. So that's why I wanted to do at least some of it right here. All right, so what I've done is I've chopped up the halibut and I've stirred it all into my batter so I can get it evenly coated. Because this is just the easiest way to do it than trying to dip one piece at a time and then do it that way. Now, I've got my bowl of coconut. Now, if this was my chicken, for my almond chicken, I would take my chicken pieces and put them right in the frying pan like this. But since I'm doing a coconut halibut, I'm just going to roll each piece into the coconut and I'm going to put it in the frying pan. So I'm doing that I'll show you a few just like this, and then I'll take you over to the frying pan. All right, so you see here my pieces are frying. I'm using coconut oil. I accidentally put in the wrong coconut oil. I meant to put in the extra virgin coconut oil that still has the coconut flavor in it, since this is coconut halibut, but I put the coconut oil I used that's, you know, had the flavor and scent removed from it, and I usually use that for frying potatoes, which I will be frying up some sweet potatoes to go with this. So anyway, that's about the color you want it to look, not like these pieces over here when my grease was too hot, because I'm not used to cooking on this stovetop anymore. So that's a good color right there, good and crisp. So you want your heat somewhere between medium to medium high, right in there. You're doing this on a conventional wood stove or conventional cooktop. All right, there you have it. Coconut halibut, nice and crispy, golden brown, and the spicy pineapple dipping sauce. And this, I tried a piece with the sauce. Excellent. I highly recommend it. So give it a try. So I think I was pretty good about giving you the measurements this time. I'm trying to get better about that since I tend to just throw things together. But hope you liked the video and you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.